Alright, this is going to be another one of those videos where I quickly talk over a game and give my thought process. I don't really like doing this that much, but there was a request for it, so I figured I might as well. These games are going to be from the previous video I uploaded, which was season 46 of Master Duel, the second part. Now this was before Orchist and Mitsurugi were added to the game, so it might be slightly outdated. Maliss obviously isn't going to be hit, but also I'm going to actually edit this and remove parts of the Maliss combos just because I think it'll take up too much space in the video. So I'm quickly gonna cut off, and by the time I get back there will be a Maliss end board there. Alright, like I was saying, I'm back to this Maliss end board. As you can see, my hand's not that great. There's a Duster and a Jamming Wave, so that's a bit repetitive. I know GWC is here, so I know this Duster is going to get negated by D-Save Worm. I have a Tactics, which could probably draw some cards, but the bright side is that my opponent's on 4100 life points because they did their combo in a weird way. And when you see Maliss has low life points like this, you gotta make it your win condition to do as much damage as possible to turn off their ability to play. So, go to my turn, draw a card. It's engage. Oh, I hear like a car or I don't know, something outside. But anyway, as you can see, there is an engage. Get lucky in drawing that, which is kind of what I needed. So main phase 1, start with the jamming waves on the, what do you call it, the GWC, since I don't know, I'm hoping he messes up or something, and he sends the Code of Soul, so I know this guy is on like some really bad version probably. Banishes his stuff. Now, I think this is a misplay. You really don't want to be paying life points when you don't have to as Maliss. Like, he could have banished a White Rabbit instead of the Red Ransom, then banished the Rabbit, because now he paid like 900 for nothing. Like, sure, you get follow, but you're playing Maliss. Do you really need it? You have all this already. And he sets the MTP. So I go for this draw 2. Somehow it goes through. He didn't negate it with D-Save Worm. And I draw Desires. But for some reason he negates that with D-Save Worm. Like, one draw 2 is okay, but the second one isn't. Like, what are you doing? But anyway, he fuses, or not fuses, he links off into Allied Code Talk with his Code of Soul. Now he doesn't, now because of his weird placement of putting that there, he has to banish the White Binder, then with March here, then White Binder will come back, so he'll have a negate for Code of Soul. Now he has his negate, I activate my Duster, obviously gets negated. 3 spells in grave, but at least the White Binder doesn't banish anything, which is nice. So from here I go for the Widow Anchor. I Widow on the Apollo, chain linkage, and he chains Maxi because obviously the people who play like this draw insane. And he has 4 back row, so I know one of these has to be imperm. But anyway, go for linkage. And because I have the second linkage, it's probably safe to do this. I go for the engage. Now I really wanted to kill this guy if it was possible, but it really wasn't with the way things were lined up. Like, maybe there's a different way to get lethal, but I don't know, I didn't see it. He banishes my Hayate, at least I still have the engage. I get another Widow. I draw into Super Poly. Now this is annoying because I just used linkage. If I had this earlier, I think I could have won just by having Almarduk attack over a bunch of stuff. And I get trolled here. So this is looking pretty grim, but this guy has 3400 life points, and when you see a win condition, you actually do have to go for it. So I go battle phase, steal his Red Ransom, run her into Apollo. Now he's on 900 life points. That means the Link 3 Malisses can't come back, and that just means that GWC is forever stuck in the grave until he banishes White Binder with the Marcher. Then he has to banish a Marcher with something to get White Binder back, or yeah, White Binder back in his extra, so he can reset the GWC and gain life. So at this point, I've pretty much cut him off of his Maliss nonsense, so I just set 2 and pass. Also, if you'll notice, he doesn't have any banished Maliss cards, which means that it's safe to set this Super Poly because I don't have to worry about Heart's Cryptor banishing my stuff. And his first action is this. Now, if I'm being honest, right here I should have chained Super Poly and got rid of all 3 of these for Almarduk, like this, and this. Actually, let me turn the cursor on. It's probably better to demonstrate it with that on. Alright, the cursor should be on now. Yeah, I should have gotten rid of these 3 for Marduk, so I can have... So like when this is banned, when he banishes a Maliss, he can't like turn player priority hearts cryptor then banish one of my cards. But I was hoping that he would banish March here or something, I don't know. I just think with the way he's playing he'll probably misplay, because I don't think he's really gonna know to turn player priority hearts cryptor on res. So this was kind of greedy of me, and I probably shouldn't have done it, because like if he knows this is happening, he would probably like banish a March here and add it back and do some stuff, but whatever. Anyway, I get rid of all 3 of those for all Marduk. Now, at this point, I don't know what's in his extra, but I assume it's nothing good because he plays Terahertz, and that leads me to believe it's just a bunch of stuff that I really probably don't care that much about, just because of how poorly he's built his deck. But anyway, he just presses buttons for no reason, banishes the White Rabbit from grave, and he passes his turn. So that really tells me that he's really out of good plays. I switch my stuff to attack, and I attack. Now if you're wondering why I didn't go for this, it's because I thought one of these could be Impulse, and even if I steal a monster, go into Camellia, then go into Hayate. Like, I just don't think it's worth it. Because one of these could be Imperm, and I don't want to be... Like, I don't want to leave him with bodies. I want to get rid of these no matter what. And if he has Max C, I don't want to give him some draws. Because he could draw into, like, Bistros or something. I just think too much can go wrong. I'm just gonna save this until a moment that I know he has nothing and I can just use it. Also, if you'll see, I don't have any lights or dark, so if he has a Bistro, he has to banish from his grave. And worst case scenario, I could steal whatever he's trying to banish and buy me another turn, then go into Camellia, if I have to. So that's why I did it like that. But he's normal as a Maxi, goes for Almirage, summons backup, searches a Dormouse, pitches a Lancia, goes for this, then he can't summon that, and he gives up. So I think my conservative play towards the end there did win. That might have been a simple game, but that's just showing how to take advantage of someone misplaying. I'm not sure if it'll come up that much, but it was pretty a cool way to win for me, just because of how much it mattered with the all Marduk and doing as much damage as possible. You really gotta look for alternate win conditions whenever possible. Alright, this is another game from the last video I uploaded, and as you can see, the full Maliss combo is done. He has pretty much everything set up. I see a Druid Worm, which lets me know he plays Bistros in case I want to do anything reckless. But as you can see, my hand has like Rhoda, Engage, Lightning Storm Tactics, and Call by the Grave. Now, these are the kind of hands you really dream of when you're playing Striker. I don't think I could get a better hand. The only way it would be better is like if my top deck is another Lightning Storm or Duster for when one of them gets negated by Allied Code Talker, because that's obviously what's going to happen. But anyway, we'll start now. So it's my turn. I draw Rose. Now, I really hate drawing Rose. She's probably the worst possible draw in the deck. But I'm pretty sure I start off with Rhoda, because I wanted to see if he like negates this for some reason. I don't know. Because I think once I have Rose, that if he somehow resolves a Droll against me, I'd want at least Ray and Rose to have 2 bodies to do stuff with. But I get Ray, nothing happens, and I go Lightning Storm next. Now obviously this is gonna force out the Allied Code Talker. He tributes the White Binder. Now, you have to be really careful, like, when you see a White Binder in grave, I know, and you have Call By, I know it's probably the most satisfying thing to hit her with Call By, but I've learned that that's not correct most of the time, because they could often just chain March here, or, what do you call it, GWC. Now if they have those, well, or at least if they've used one, and like now they're using the other to banish her, sure you can go for it, but I don't know, I've learned to save this for hand traps against Maliss. So I go for the draw 2 and then gets the Ash out his hand. So he has one more card. I go call by, and it's Lancia. Now, I'm just putting this out there. If you use Lancia against Striker as Maliss, that's just a straight up misplay, because this gives them a win condition in Shark Cannon to revive the Lancia on your turn, and then they tribute it and you can't banish and you lose. So if they break your board, you're really playing with fire here. I don't think it's really correct to activate Lancia against Striker, because you never know what's in their hand. Like, I guess he knows I have Ray, but it's 2 unknowns, and 2 unknowns against a board breaker deck, against like a deck especially like Striker, where they could have Engage or Thrust or things like that. I just think it's wrong, because he already knows I'm about to have 3 spells engraven as Striker, so I think he's messing up here. But anyway, I go Engage. I go for Burner because I wanted to start picking off his back row, and if I go for multi-roll to start setting up for the win. And one of those is Engage. I mean, not Engage, Imperm. And he imperms my Kagari when I try to add Engage back. I'm just gonna sit there looking stupid. But I draw into the Heavy, so obviously I wouldn't have searched Burner if I knew I'm getting Heavy off the Engage draw, but that's just how it worked out, because I was doing Burner to pick off the back row. So this forces 2 of his back row. One of them is TB11 and the other is GWC. I don't know what the other 2 could be. One was Eclipse, so that could have been bad. So it's pretty nice that I got the Heavy to get rid of it, because I would have summoned Rose and she gets booked and I lose because she's blocking the main monster zone. But now I'm free to play, or not like in the sense of free to play, like you don't have to pay money to play the game, but I'm free to do whatever I want, because Lancia is there. His cards can't do anything. The only way he'll ever have the ability to like have a quick effect is if Lingaribo goes to the grave, then he can tribute Allied Code Talker to get the Lingaribo back on board. So now, when you're in situations like this where you see everything in front of you, there's no more surprises on what the opponent can do. You just have to think about the best way to clear their board and shut them out the game. Because I've already identified my win condition is Shark Cannon on Lancia for his turn, and then he can't play. So I just have to break this full board. Now, I know some people watch my videos and know that I almost always play Engage 0, but this is like the one time I wasn't, and it bothered me so much because I was playing Super Poly and I had Almarduk in the slot I usually have Engage 0 in, just because I wanted to try it out. So like, I could have just gone Ray, Special Summon Rose, go into Engage 0, wipe his board, and so on. You get the idea. But unfortunately it has to go like this. So now I have to figure out how to clear this board with this hand. So I go Ray, go Rose. Now obviously Azalea is going to be a big part of this because she can get rid of one of these. Probably the Cryptor, the Queen. Okay, pop Cryptor now. I can't go Battle Phase and Azalea effects because we're under Lancia, so that's unfortunate. That would really help with cleaning up the board. But I go into Kagari, add back this, because now I think it's safe to go for multi-roll and start setting up for the follow-up. I get lucky and draw a Widow. That's going to make it a lot easier to clear all this stuff. Go Hayate, and at this point I'm thinking I just send the Shark Cannon, kill one of these, but with Hayate, and then Widow, take this, run over the Lingari, but then I just have to deal with these. Now you have to be really careful to not use linkage in situations like this, because it would lock me out of Typhon, and because I don't have jamming waves, I can't deal with non-targeting bodies, so the only way to get rid of one of these is with Typhon, since that's the only non-targeting removal I have left. I also couldn't use Zeke for cleaning this up because I'm under Lancia. So I pretty much just identified how to clear this board and how to lock him out the game. It's going exactly how I said. Also in this part, I go Camellia. You have to be careful to not throw when you're ahead, so like, if I bounce the transcode with Typhon and try to burner the Allied Code Talker, he could chain Lingaribo and he gets a body. Like, I don't want that happening. That would just be like, it doesn't really matter. There's not much he can do to get back in the game, but you know, you have to be as clean and accurate as possible when you're dealing with these people. And like I said, I reset the Widow and the Shark Cannon and his draw phase, steal the Lancia. Don't want him drawing into a lure, so I'm just doing this in case like he top decks a lure, he can't use it. And reset the engage and it's over. So that's how you deal with situations like that when you know you can absolutely win. Like, it's pretty important to not make any mistakes in those situations, and I really do find that fun. Like, it's not as fun as when people can actually play, because there's a lot more interaction there, but sometimes you get those games that are just like a puzzle, and that was one of them, because the opponent really had no input after he used all his interruptions. So now I'm gonna cut to the next game. Alright, I said I would cut to the next game, and this is me doing it. Now normally I would just skip this Maliss combo, but this guy did not start off in a normal way, because he goes Dormouse for Cheshire, or Dormouse into Link Decoder, and then Cheshire banish this Maliss in the Mirror, which means he drew it. So he knew that he had to do some improvised combo, and when people have to do improvised combos, it usually tells me that they know what they're doing. Also, at the start of the duel, this guy had the what do you call it, like the top 100 Duelist Cup, top 500, all those titles. So I knew that he was a competent player, and I didn't want to underestimate him. So I really did my best to pay attention to what he was doing, because now I know he has a White Rabbit in hand, normal Sure, sets GWC in the middle. He goes Heart's Cryptor, and then probably goes Apollo or something. See, he puts the mirror back and banishes his thing, because I guess that was the only way to get the mirror back in the deck, which tells me he probably wants the mirror as an interruption somehow, which is why he didn't go for Red Ransom first. Yeah, he banishes the Queen, does this, probably goes for Splash Mage, I assume. Yeah, Splash into revive one of the Maliss names. Then he goes for Red Ransom, and he probably adds the mirror as another interruption. Banishes her, summons the Queen back, does that, gets another body, and then he goes into Allied Code Talker. Now, if you'll notice, he didn't go through White Binder, and you may think that's a mistake, but in this situation I don't think it's wrong that he didn't, because if you'll notice, there's a March Hare Engrave, and since he didn't care enough to go for Firewall and like a White Binder into a body into Firewall to add this March Hare back, that lets me assume that he probably has a March Hare in hand, and that one of these is Maliss in the Mirror, because I saw him search it. So that's two things I have to worry about that I already know. I don't know how much it'll matter, but I'll continue for now. I also have to remember he's a good player now. It's super important turn player priority here, because if he max C's and I chain call by, he tributes the Red Ransom, and then I can't super poly these because there's no valid target, so you have to turn player priority, get rid of all three for all Marduk. Very satisfying to see all that nonsense go away. And now we go to main phase. Also, he had a response here in main phase, in the draw phase, as soon as I did that. And I know that means that one of these is either Imperm, he has max C, or his Maliss in the Mirror is live. And I think it's most likely that the Maliss in the Mirror is live, because he didn't go for March Hare on his turn with the Firewall that he didn't make. So that just lets me assume he probably has a March Hare in hand. So I start playing, I don't get drolled, I go for Rose. Now I normal Ray, summon Rose. I know there's two back row, and if I want to play, I have to get rid of the Maliss in the Mirror and hope the other one isn't Imperm if I want to like advance the game state in my favor, because like the way it's set up, it's not really that good. I really want to get to engage and start drawing and getting into as many interrupts as possible, so when it goes back to his turn, he can't harm me that much. Since I already know like he hasn't gone through White Binder and he hasn't gone through Firewall, because normally those are in the grave, so if I can deal with them, it makes it a lot easier to beat him on his turn, because he has to actually get to them in order to make plays. So it's super critical that I snipe the, what do you call it, the Maliss in the Mirror with Azalea here. Now, you may call it luck, but I actually do manage to snipe it. He negates the Almarduk, and he banishes the White Binder, which I correctly assumed was in his hand. And luckily for me, I have 2 call buys. So he tries to activate March here, add that back, but because he left one in his grave, I can call by that garbage. And it's gone, don't have to worry about that shit for 2 turns. And that really cuts down the possibility of bad things that can happen to me. So next I go Hayate, and I go Battle Phase. Now, attack for 30, attack for 15. And I tried, oh wait, I sent a card, the Widow, because if he has Ash in hand, I don't want to like get ashed, you know, if I send engage. So I want to like Kagari add the Widow back, so I just don't lose to Ash, you know. But then I try to end the battle phase, and he goes Called By on Ray. Now this tells me something. Why would you ever make this play? Like, there are 2 reasons you do this. Either you're bad, or you have Gamma in hand. Now, because he had like the top 100 title or top 500, I know it's not because he's bad. It could also be that he is Ghost Ogre, but I think if you had Ghost Ogre, you would do that in the main phase, because it's like you're already playing into talents anyway when the Ghost Ogre, because he knows the Kagari is coming. But he goes Fua, yeah. So now I have a choice to make. Do I give him that 1 draw and get my, well, it's not even 1 draw because I have to link Almarduk off into Camellia, and then I have to add my Widow Anchor back. But also in this situation, the ultimate lose con is him having Gamma. So I stopped here for like a good minute to think about what to do. And if you'll notice, he has a Dormouse banished, and Marcher is negated for the next turn. He has White Rabbit in grave, and he has Cheshire Cat in grave. So that means if he top decks Dormouse and banishes one of them, I can call by the other one. The one that he banishes with Dormouse, and then he'll just have a Dormouse on board. If he top decks a Bestial and tries to banish one of his own cards, I can use Call By on it, because I don't think he would banish one of mine. Or, like, for some reason he banishes one of mine and I can't, he runs his Bestial into my Hayate, I can send Ray, she revives, and then I can play. And the other situation is that he top decks Backup, goes into a link, or Backup searches Wizard, goes into a link 1, and then makes the White Binder, and I lose. But he would need to target a card in grave with that I can then snipe with Call By, and then he wouldn't be able to play. So I think I really thought about that for a while, and then I realized that no matter what happens, Called By beats every single play that he can have in his deck. The only one that it doesn't beat is Allure of Darkness into Dormouse and Crossout, where he draws the Crossout for the Called By. But that's like so unlikely that I realized that I should just, I've already identified my win condition here. It's just passing, not giving him the Fua draw, and not playing into Gamma, because that would be like the absolute worst if I play, what do you call it? Like, I give him a draw, I get my monster blown up, he gets to Gamma, so that he would also get another draw for turn because I played into Fua, and that's 2 draws, so that would be like the ultimate lose condition. So I just set the Call By and pass. And next he top decks Backup. Searches Wizard, like I said, was one of the possibilities, and discards Gamma. Now I like felt like so smart when I saw him discard the Gamma, because that was like the one card I'm playing around, and like I just felt it in his soul. I knew he had that in hand, that he was trying to do some clown nonsense. And like you could say I got lucky by drawing 2 Call Bys, but I think when you're ahead, you have to learn in situations like this how to not throw a game. And I considered every single possibility of how I lose this game, and I won because of that. Like you could call it luck, but I just think it was the correct play. So obviously he's gonna feel sad when his whatever he targets gets banished by Call By, and the game's over. Enough damage on board to win. But This is one of those wins that feels like extremely satisfying to pull off, because like you consider everything that can go wrong and you play around every single possibility and win. That was probably like one of my favorite wins. Like it didn't really look that impressive because I just like super poly 3 monsters, attack twice and whatever, but I think in those situations you really have to consider your lose conditions and how you win. So I'm just gonna cut to the next game and I'll be back then. Alright, I'm finally back. Now, this is some tier guy that milled his whole deck basically. He has Snow Engrave, a Shuffler. With Ava he searched an orange light and a green light. I also saw him search Crime, but he kept it in hand, which leads me to believe that he has orange light, green light, Crime, then probably 3 spells since he wouldn't have a monster to discard for Crime. But anyway, now I'll just continue. Where is it? Okay, I'll continue for now. Now, this hand, I saw it, I am like, oh my god, this is awful, but I think I lost the game before this too, and I was like, really just like tilted looking at my hand, like Iron Wall against Tear, like what is this nonsense? If Maliss didn't exist, I would be playing Soul Release and I'd at least be able to force out all the nonsense in his grave. But I draw Widow. Now, I'm gonna be honest, there is absolutely no way to win this if the opponent plays it correctly, and my win condition is just basically him misplaying. I have to make plays that make it look like I have an actual play when I really don't. The only silver lining here was that he summoned Kaleido Heart instead of Rokalos, because Rokalos stops Shark Cannon on the Shuffler. And then I would have like one play, which would be Linkage. I don't know. I just got kind of lucky that his board wasn't as good as possible, but he does have orange light, green light, and I know he has Crime for the next turn, which is a counter trap I'll have to deal with. So I start Shark on the Mudora. It baits out the green light and orange light. So I'm just assuming because he discarded orange light that he either has another one, or that was his only monster, because he what do you call it, he didn't set Crime, because like if he had another monster he would have set Crime just to have the Omni. So I chain Linkage, go into Hayate. He doesn't negate it with DSC Ray, which is kinda cool, I guess. But I know I'm gonna have to force out that Mudora at some point, so I go Battle Phase. I'm able to activate this and engage. Now, I get really lucky here because he didn't have the orange light and damage step. So that just tells me he probably doesn't have it. Like, you should do it there if you have it. Also, when he was milling with Pilgrim Reaper, he did manage to mill a Rose, so if you ever put something into EMZ, I do have a way back into the game. That's like the silver lining here in this pretty awful situation. Now I try to add the engage back. Obviously it's gonna get Mudora'd. Shuffles 3 of my spells back. Now, I don't think you should shuffle back Shark Cannon against Striker, because like normally if they'd want it back they're gonna have to Kaguri, but now they can add it with like Engage or Shizuku or draw into it, and this is an annoying card against your tier deck. So because I still have 3 spells engraved before they get shuffled, I chain Widow Anchor onto Kaleido Heart, try to steal it, and this forces the DSC Ray. So those are negated. I don't really have anything. I go Kaina to at least try to stop the Kaleido Heart from attacking. So go to Shizuku. I can't, unfortunately I can't Typhon because I started with Linkage. So I'm just gonna set 2 and pass now. There's no way I ever win this. I search follow-up for next turn at least. I don't want to search, what do you call it, Engage, because if he has an Ash Blossom, then I would just lose to that on my next turn. And as you can see, there's 2 Ashes in grave, and none are banished, so that means he has either an Ash in hand or an Ash in deck. And I already know one of the cards in hand is Crime, so if you didn't want to discard a monster for Crime, it's probably Ash, because you would want to keep the Ash for a Striker in case they have Engage. But I'll continue now. He skips his draw phase for what's called Dugaris. He goes Fiendsmith, summons the Fiendsmith. Now here, you could make the argument that I should Super Poly one of these, but my other back row is a bluff, so, you know, if I'm just sitting here bluffing and I'm trying to live with just 2 vanillas against Tear, I don't think that ever happens. So I'm just gonna let him go into his Requiem. He goes into another Engraver. Now he equips the Requiem. Now this is where it's getting risky, because I know the next action that he's going to do is send Kaleido Heart or send Shizuku. If he sends Shizuku, I think I might live in the battle phase just on the basis that I can use this and summon a Garura, and maybe he's forgetting that Kaleido Heart can't attack. But if he's a good player, he sends his Kaleido Heart, and then Kaleido Heart resummons and it can attack, and then he spins the other back row. So I have to put him on trying to spin the Super Poly, because I don't want, I don't know, because I just have to make it seem like Super Poly is a card that he should get rid of. So for that reason, when he activates this, I chain the Iron Wall, because I don't know, maybe he's like thinking it's like, oh, that's probably some scary card if he's activating Iron Wall here. He doesn't want my Snow interfering. I don't know, maybe he thinks I have a Bestial in hand or some nonsense. I don't know. In case he does like Snow, something weird could happen. So he doesn't change Snow or anything, which is pretty nice for me. I guess it worked out in that situation. If he did, I think I would lose this game. And he does this, resummons the Kaleido, Shiren goes to grave, he targets my set, and he goes for the Super Poly because I just left it there, making it seem like I have to protect it. Now I chain the Super Poly, get rid of his 2 Fiendsmith dudes, and if you'll notice, all 3 Fiendsmith links are in grave, which is kinda nice. So, does this, I summon Garura in defense to chump block. For some reason he gets rid of my Shizuku instead of the Garura. I think I would have died if he got rid of Garura, because this is at least blocking some damage. But you know, sometimes you gotta really put him on misplaying. So he does the summon Drill Kalos. Now, I don't know, I think the opponent pretty much lost the plot at this point. I really shouldn't have won this, because if you'll notice, his, what's it called, isn't in the grave, the Fusion Lacrima's not there. So, and he did put the Link 2 back, so he could have just gone, link 2 of these into Moon, then link off again into, what's it called? The Link 2, whatever, the Link 2 Fiendsmith that Fusion summons. Like, he could have done that, then gone for, what's it called? The Link 2 Fiendsmith, I'm forgetting the name. Whatever, he could have just done that, gone into Lacrima, then linked off the Fusion Lacrima and burned me through the last 1200. So he didn't spot lethal, not my problem. But I don't know, I have drones, and I know he probably set the crime now, so I don't know. I don't think I can win. But I activate drones, and for some reason it somehow goes through, which is kinda cool, I guess. I don't know, maybe he felt like suspicious that I would start off with my follow-up and something was up. But I don't know, this guy is really messing up. So next I activate Heavy. This forces out the crime. Now, if he thought about this for a second, he would know that you're not actually supposed to negate this, because then I have to start dealing with Snow, and like, it may not seem like a big deal, but that extra body for link climbing can be kind of annoying. And the monster he pitched was an orange light. I guess he topped, no, he didn't top like that. I mean, I guess he had it, but he didn't have another fairy to discard for it. So I go for Kaguri, I add back the Widow. I was gonna go for like Hayate, Battle Phase, Engage, then add it back, but I realized, like, well, I mean, it did get negated, but either way, I think I would have probably sent Ray in the Battle Phase, then tried to add back Widow, because if he has Ash in hand, I could lose to that. And he has 2 cards in deck. I know one of them is Havness. And do I know the other one? Is it Lacrima? Wait, is it Lacrima? So it's yeah, the cards left in deck are Havness and Lacrima, the main deck Lacrima. And because of that, and I see 2 ashes here. This also confirmed to me that since an ash isn't here, and ash isn't there, the 3rd ash is probably in hand. So like you really got to pay attention to the small details against decks like Tear, because that is what helps you win games. So I run that over, I take his Real Kalos, I go for Shizuku. Now, if you're wondering why I didn't crash, it's because I need an extra body. I need to have 2 bodies on board, because I know at some point he's going to go for Lacrima, and then he can go into a Link 2 with the Engraver Revive, and no matter what happens, I absolutely have to stop the Link 2 from fusing into... Sequence is the name, yeah. I have to stop Sequence from fusing into the Fusion Lacrima and then burning me for 1200. So I go Typhon, bounce this, and like in the worst case scenario, I need Typhon to defend my life points. So I bounce that, end phase, search, engage. Next he summons the Engraver, puts the Fusion DSU Ray back. He equips this. Now I have to be careful not to fall for that, because no matter what, this is negating the Link 2 to summon the Fusion Lacrima. He normals his thing. Now it was either that I know Havness is at the bottom because of how tiers work. So, and since he didn't ash me, I assume it's that he had either Lacrima or Ash in hand. But either way, it was one in hand and then he top decks the other, so it's the same outcome either way. So he goes Sequence, and like I said, unfortunately I have to pitch the engage here. Now I was wondering, like when you think about it, I know the last card is Ash, unless he's playing 2 Ash, but I don't know who does that, right? But anyway, I do it like this because I want the Typhon on board still, and like I could have gotten rid of this, but if I get rid of Typhon, I know his last card is Ash because obviously there's just 2 Ash in the grave, none are banished, and Havness is on the bottom of the deck. If I sent Typhon and let this attack me for 600 damage, and it's my turn, I have no bodies, I activate, what do you call it, engage, it gets Ash, he just swings with this for next turn and I lose. So you actually do have to send the engage from hand here. You can't even send the Iron Wall either, because then he could get Snow and start making some Link plays. But yeah, that's why I did it like that. And next, it's my turn. You may be saying, oh, you have a Typhon, it's giving him a few turns to do his nonsense, but if you'll remember, he milled my Rose with Pilgrim Reaper, and she's finally going to get to come back because this thing's in the extra monster zone, so he should have shuffled Rose with the Shuffler when he had a chance. And she swings, I go for Azalea, pop his thing. Now he chooses to search Havness. Now I know he has nothing engraved now, so he's gonna have to activate Lacrima, and it is smart of him to do this here because in the end phase I can go like Shizuku, add Shark Cannon, and if he tries to put Lacrima back so he doesn't deck out, he can lose like that. So yeah, that was correct. So I do this draw too. It was Ash, like I said, gets negated. Now I have to go for Kagari, add back engage. I unfortunately have to add something, I forgot what it was. I think Widow here, yeah, it's always Widow. I get lucky draw to trust to add engage, then get a draw and add multi-roll. Unfortunately the extra draw is Super Poly, which doesn't do anything since I won't have a discard. I have to get rid of this. I know his top deck's gonna be Lacrima, his card in hand is Havness that he can't activate. So he has a normal summon and he has an Engraver Revive. No matter what happens, yeah, he's gonna do this. And his norm, I just have to stop this so he can't go into a Link 2. He does this, it doesn't matter, and he gives up because I just win from this point. So that game there, it might be a bit fraudulent since it relied on the opponent misplaying, but even if they do, you have to identify your win cons and look for certain things, like the part where I knew the card in hand or top deck was Ash and the other one was Lacrima. Because when Tier mills all their cards, it's not really easy, but you can make really good guesses on what their remaining cards are, what they have in hand, what they have in deck, and how you have to play it out. And I got really lucky because in that situation, he's gone through every single card in his like deck. Everything's visible and banished. Grave. I knew the Havness was on the bottom of the deck because she fused, and I was able to infer the last card in hand and the top deck. So that's the only reason I was able to win that, along with him misplaying, but I think that's still part of the game, and you have to learn how to how to win in situations like that. But that's probably going to be all. Thanks for watching. Now, Mitsu and Orcus did get added to the game, so I don't know if I'll still run Iron Wall. I do think Maliss is still the best deck in this game, but I don't know, I'd have to see what I do. Hopefully the Striker support comes soon, because this deck is honestly really bad, and like it's just such a struggle trying to win with the outdated support when everything else has the modern support. So hopefully that changes soon, and thanks for watching.